Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. In this video, I'm going to be deepening what we talked about yesterday about you be a mountain, an unshakable, unmovable mountain in the face of whatever season comes in. So I'll just recap very briefly so that you understand what I'm saying, and then I'll deepen it. The recap is that there was a visiting lecturer in the temple who came and he spoke and he put a picture of a mountain on a slide and he said no matter what season it was, so when it was the monsoons, this was in India, so when it was monsoons, which means rainy season, then the mountain would become clean, it would become green, the plants would start to grow, it would become nice. And then when it was winter or the following years or summer or whatever, it was dry and brown and ugly, and I mean not ugly but dirty and just messed up, like completely weathered and beaten, looking completely weathered and beaten. And he said, yet this mountain did not ever budge or move an inch. It never budged. It stayed strong and it stayed there. It did not matter what seasons came and went, it just stayed there. And it hit me, like, obviously mountains don't move, but the way he said it, I was like, oh my goodness, yes, this is insanely amazing. We can be like that. We can just stay there. We can be strong no matter what seasons come our way, no matter what comes our way. So then the question for me, I was deepening, I was thinking about it and contemplating about it a little bit more. What does it mean to be weathered and beaten, right? Like when it's lush, green, clean, it's being watered, beautifully watered, then of course we understand things are great and we keep going. But what does it mean to be brown and dry and bare and barren and all of that? Like, how does that work in real life? So I'm going to give an example of my diet. Like, I've been on this some diet or the other for many years, decades basically. So there are times when I'm really good on the diet, and there are times when I'm not as good on the diet. There are times when I go really intensely. There are times when I'm just like doing my daily morning routine. Like for example, for 2 or 3 years, I was doing juicing, intense juicing, for 2 or 3 years every morning. It was taking me 2 to 3 hours every morning to do my morning routine of juicing, walking, things like that. And then I decided to pivot. I decided to stop that, briefly at least. I mean, I don't know, it's been a year or two since I've stopped that, but I'm trying other things now. So this is, yeah. So, but then I mean, there are times where it hasn't given me the results I've wanted yet. But there are times when I'm not on the diet and I have felt that I'm like, I go and then I stop and I slip back and then I go, but like my going is slower than my slipping back. So I feel like overall things are going in the negative direction, but I'm still going, of course, because I want to find that thing. So what does that mean? Like even if I'm going back and I'm slipping back, I used to beat myself up like mad, that I'm slipping. I'm not going forward. I'm not making progress. I'm overall going in a negative direction because of the stop and go. So does that mean weathered? What does weathered mean? Does that mean that I never slip? I never allow myself to slip? I am just consistent. No matter what, I'm consistent and I do my thing, I do my diet, and I never allow myself to slip. Or if I slip, I pick myself back up very quickly, but I keep going. Does that mean, being weathered or being barren or being dry? Yeah, sure. I mean, as much as you can, you do that. As much as I can, I would do that. But what I felt is that being beaten, being weathered, like looking beaten, looking weathered, even if I'm stopping, like even if I'm stopping for months, which I've done, even if I'm stopping for years, maybe, I mean, I've not done that yet in this aspect, in other aspects, yes. But no matter what, if I have this unshakable trust inside me that yes, I am going to be able to figure it out at some point. I will. This is who I am. I am the kind of person who figures things out. So if I have that conviction and then I start back up again, however long it takes, then that is still being unshakable, unmovable, because the unshakable is the belief that I can do it, even if the actions are not supporting it at the moment. That can be taken as, I mean, we can take it however we want, right? But the most important thing is that the belief is there. I can make this happen and I can do it. Even if right now I am too weak to do it. So I have another example for it. Like I've been trying to memorize this book that I'm reading, and so I do it sometimes and I don't do it sometimes, and I'm reading just a page sometimes, I'm memorizing just an extra half a page sometimes I'm like whatever, and it's like it's okay. The thing is the fact that I'm doing it, even if I'm doing it slower than I would have originally planned to do, it doesn't matter. I'm still doing it. I'm making progress, right? It's progress over perfection. It's not perfection. It's not like this has to look perfect every day. I have to be able to do this. Yeah, I mean, the more we can get to that, the more progress, the faster progress we'll make. But slower progress is much better than no progress. So the more we do this, the more over time we get to a place where we start to make faster progress, because it becomes a habit and it becomes easier. In the beginning, it's going to take time. And it may take even, like in the beginning, it may take even decades. That's okay. The amount of time I am able to stay on the diet now and the amount of time I slip is much lower now. I mean, I used to slip for months and months, and then I would go in for 3 to 6 weeks of intense diet, and then I would slip for many months again. And then now it's not like that. Now I'm on the diet most of the time, and the slips are maybe for, like, I've been slipping for a week now, and I know that I'm going to get back probably today. So the more you keep going, even at a slower pace, even at a pace which feels like you're slipping more than you're gaining, the more you keep going, the more you will get into this routine or the habit, or the more you start to pivot slowly but surely, even after decades. That's the thing. Just put this. That's another thing. We put this limiting belief in our head. If it hasn't worked in so and so time, then it's not going to work. So what if we take that limit and we put that limit to a lifetime, right? Or a lifetime might be, let's say, 30 years. If it doesn't work in 30 years, then I'm going to consider it a failure. Then, but I'm just saying that, but it's not going to be a failure even in 30 years. But just to put something on my head so that it's not 6 weeks, so that I don't start to feel a failure in 6 weeks. So I put this thought in my head, no, it's not yet 30 years, so I'm going to keep going, right? So we do that. Like if we, so being weathered means that nothing seems to be working. When somebody looks from outside, they're like, okay, this person just cannot succeed. This person just cannot manage. This person's all talk. This person is like all kinds of judgments, right? This person is a procrastinator. This person is lazy. This person cannot work hard. This person's just all talk. They always talk about all kinds of things. So all of those judgments that people may put on us because we are having a weathered season, and that season may be much longer than the green season, right? But just because we're having that weathered season, if we are in our convictions convinced, I mean, we have such strong convictions that we will manage it at some point, whenever that happens. Right now I am having a weak thing, but we will manage at some point. Then that is unshakable. That is you being a mountain. Being a mountain, unshakable, unmovable mountain, does not mean that you're always doing everything perfectly, or that you're mostly doing everything perfectly, right? It just means having that conviction that at some point I'm going to figure it out. That's it. And putting a very high limit of when that's going to be. That's the most important thing also. 30 years. If I don't manage to figure it out in 30 years, then I will call it quits. And you will not even at that time. You'll extend it at that time. But for now, you're just buying yourself a huge amount of time, so that you don't have these limiting beliefs blocking you. Oh, I didn't manage to figure out in 3 weeks. I'm done. I'm doomed. Okay. Yeah, that's it for this video. I hope this helped. Wish you a day filled with immeasurable conviction in the things that you want, whatever you want, whatever that is for you. Wish you a beautiful day. Radhe Radhe.